We reached out to Blake Migues, Representative Migues. All right, Blake, I'm reading what was done, but really not. I'm just reading what they said it was done. So what bill, what petition, tell us what went on.
Hey, how you doing today, Moon?
Doing good.
Well, I just had a House delegation meeting about 30 minutes ago, and most of our members were in attendance, and we have decided to execute a petition to end the health emergency. As you know, the Republicans have been going back and forth and fighting to look for options to reopen this economy for the last several months. We brought a multitude of legislation this session. One, I carried on the floor, HB 4, which added an additional tool on how to strike certain areas of the overreaching restrictions that the governor has on our business owners and our citizens. We brought a number of suspension resolutions that didn't end up getting a final vote in the Senate. And after the speaker and the governor and the legislative leaders had some negotiations with the governor over the last day or so, it seemed like the governor wasn't willing to give the citizens of Louisiana those freedoms back, those freedoms to run their businesses and save their livelihoods, the freedoms to get their children's education back normal, the freedoms to attend high school football games or LSU football games, to tailgate. The list goes on.
All righty, let's go back to Representative Blake Migues. All right, breaking news, Blake, is that y'all have come up with you have a bill number or resolution or petition number on this thing at all?
No, Moon. This is, as you know, there was a C-ball petition out there, there was a Wright petition, a Nelson and Bacala petition, many different versions.
Okay.
Well, the House Republican delegation came up with a new petition over the last 24 hours, very similar to the Nelson version and the Bacala version.
Okay.
And we executed it early this morning. It is the House Republican endorsed petition, which is a representation of the Louisiana House of Representatives because it has north of 53 signatures, which is a majority of the Louisiana House of Representatives. Now, with this petition will be delivered to the governor a little bit later today by the Speaker of the House. And what this petition does, it ends the health emergency for COVID-19. And it restricts the governor, directs the governor to issue a proclamation ending the health emergency, and it restricts him from ordering any new type of health proclamations for a period of 7 days. So it can go down one of two ways. Either one, he follows our directive, ends the health emergency within the next day or so, and gives the citizens of Louisiana back their freedoms, the freedoms that which they have constitutionally, or he can try to tie this up in court. The way we wrote the petition is this health emergency is ended for the entire period of which they may be in court. I know the Attorney General has expressed some interest in this issue. He may be involved in court as well as other attorneys. But this is an expression from the legislature that because of the work that we've done over the last several months, in particular this session, we passed HB 4, which is an instrument that we thought was a compromise to sort of get rid of certain restrictions and allow the governor to keep the health emergency in place. He's nodded to us that it's likely going to get vetoed. The Senate wouldn't bring HCR 9 up for a vote, which is the suspension resolution to immediately end everything for 60 days. So this was the last option that we had, and it's the last tool in the toolbox, and we were not going to leave session without reopening this state. I've said it very clearly for the past several months that the petition was I thought, the only viable option, and we needed to make sure that we can get Louisiana's businesses back going. We need to release the entrepreneurial spirit of Louisiana citizens to make our state great again and to recover our economy, our kids. We got to get their education.
So Blake, let me stop you real quick. Just a couple of quick notes. Number one is you had to do it because the Senate ain't doing anything. They've decided they're not moving anything, and I heard you mention that. That's got to be the driving force behind this. Is y'all not going to do nothing? We are. I got to believe that had led to this happening.
Yeah, well, they've come a long way from where they started. They allowed us, and they passed HB 4, which I thought was an aggressive instrument to us, and we sent it to the governor. But unfortunately, the governor, I'm not hopeful that he'll sign that bill. And with the time ticking on the clock and session coming to an end, most likely going to end today, it was time for us to take a stand. We got together in the delegation meeting. Everyone in the House Republican delegation meeting that was there agreed that we needed to open. And we put the petition down on the table. The Speaker of the House joined me, the Speaker pro tem. I signed it, as well as I'd say most of our members. We still got some members that were a little bit late arrival this morning that have signed the document as we speak.
Okay.
The Speaker's translated to us that he'll deliver it to the governor later today. Now, look, we tried everything. We tried House bills. We tried suspension resolutions. Our House leadership even discussed with the governor, look, can we come to an agreement and give some of these freedoms back? The mask mandate was a huge issue that was discussed. High school football outdoors with only 25% capacity, and most recently he's going to move it to 50% capacity, which was absurd when you can go inside to a casino at 75% capacity. And just some of the ways that the fire marshal and some of these other state agencies are bullying our small business owners across this state. It just wasn't acceptable to our citizens, and we heard their voices loud and clear. And it wasn't acceptable to me or the rest of our House.
Okay, let me throw a deal first. If Clay brings it today, when does this go into effect? I mean, like, does it start today at 12:30? Does it start Monday? I mean, when does it start? That's going to be an important thing to people.
Well, the law requires the governor to issue an emergency proclamation. He has to follow the law and end it.
What if he doesn't?
If he decides he doesn't want to follow the law, then it's going to go straight to court. I think your next phone call needs to be to the Attorney General to discuss what that potential process may look like. But the way our petition is written, we wrote the petition that the health emergency is ended immediately upon delivery to the governor, and he is restricted from entering into any type of new emergencies for a period of 7 days. So that's 7 days from when he issues his proclamation. Okay. So if he decides not to issue one, in the eyes of the Louisiana House of Representatives, this health emergency is eliminated upon delivery later today. So we want to get those freedoms back to the citizens across this state. Again, Moon, I'll tell you my perspective on this. It was never government's place to put mandates and restrictions on our freedoms and our business owners. The government's purpose is to guide and educate our citizens on the health risks that are out there. But it's up to our citizens to decide what type of health risks they want to take personally.
I agree.
If they want to wear a mask and they want to stay home, I'm not going to judge them. But if they want to make a livelihood and they want to get their lives back to normal, their children's education back to normal, hell, if they want to go and just watch a football game on Friday night, then that's their prerogative. They can make that decision for themselves and their families, and that's truly what I believe in. And government mandates and restrictions from Governor Edwards is not the answer. And, being ranked 50th and having an out-migration problem prior to entering the COVID-19 pandemic was already hard on Louisiana. We've lost a lot of our kids and our grandkids to neighboring states like Texas. I don't want to lose any more. I don't want my daughter living in another state. I want her enjoying boudin, crawfish, and living on the bayou just like I did. And that's the action that we took today. We took a stand saying that
let me ask
we want
this
to
question.
save Louisiana's economy.
Let me ask you this question. Does this become a court battle? If it does, is it dragged out over 3 months? And by the way, the governor controls how many cases, how many people go here, how many people. I mean, he's on TV, throwing that stuff at us. All of a sudden, he jacks it up and say, "I told y'all." By the way, I don't care if it goes up or not. And the fact that I know people need to live, I do care if you get COVID. But I heard somebody else. They said, "Man, you taking a chance? America's a chance. By being here, you just take a chance when you get up in the morning."
But, Moon, we have flexibility. If for some crazy reason this thing takes off and it becomes a serious issue and it becomes a worse health negative effects out there, then it's only for 7 days. We can go to the governor and ask him, look, put something in to mitigate those risks. But looking at the numbers, seeing that 9.98% of the people that are under 65 have survived this. And if you're over 65, it's like 96.4, I believe, the survival rate. Yeah. That we're seeing worse outcomes and health risk for individuals who are missing normal doctor's appointments. Sure. Our kids and those who are mentally distressed from losing their jobs. Suicide rates are going up. We're watching our children come home with their faces full of sores from wearing masks. We're seeing they're mentally affected.
Okay, real quick, Blake. Real quick. Why the 7 days? What's the 7 days about? Why not 10 days or 2 days?
I'd say that there's two reasons for the 7 days. One, to give us the ability to see what the effects are once we end the health emergency. I mean, I think that I think the state's numbers will stay exactly the same. But look, no one really knows. That gives us some flexibility to react if something were to spike up again. Yeah. The other reason being is that we had to have a unified front, and we had to make sure and get all of our House Republicans to sign on, and it was a lot easier document to sign at 7 days. And look, I told everyone in the meeting, This could go into court, and this could be battled out, and we may ask you to sign another petition. But everyone was willing and ready to do what was necessary to keep this state to reopen this state, and you saw that today when they signed the petition.
Yeah. All right, Blake Migues, Representative Migues. All right, Blake, we're gonna let you go. Thanks. I think you filled it in. We'll see what else happens, and we'll keep an eye on it because I was hoping y'all signed it in today. Football games can be 100%, not 50.
Well, thank you so much. Keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and stay tuned. We're going to continue fighting to reopen this state. We're going to continue fighting for your freedoms.
All right.
So, thanks so much for having me on.
Blake Migues. All right, Blake, thanks. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back. One more short segment to go. Try to squeeze in a couple calls. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Attorney General Jeff Landry joins us. All right, Jeff, they finally got a petition. It looks like it's going to pass. What we need to know from you is what's the process now? Are we open tomorrow? Are we open today? Are we open in a week? What the governor's response to this is? What happens now?
Well, I mean, look, as I appreciate the statute, and I have not seen the petition yet, Moon, but, I could read from you, so if they're terminating it under the public health emergency, which is revised code 29768, the governor immediately upon receiving the petition shall issue an executive order or proclamation ending the state of public health emergency. So, I mean, look, my opinion would be that once they sign the petition, it's in essence it's over until the governor is able, or if he does, issue another one. The important part is that, and I think this is important. I mean, I hate to get in the weeds, but the petition terminating the public health emergency may establish a period for which no other declaration of public health emergency may be issued. And of course, we had issued an opinion a couple of months ago, or maybe 45 days ago, to Representative Larry Freeman. They just said, look, we believe y'all can tailor that petition to some extent in restricting the governor's ability to declare a public emergency for COVID. But if he needed to deal with, say, a polio outbreak, a measles outbreak, unless you want to blanket his power for a public health emergency, you could restrict it to simply that one. We believe that certainly would be upheld and is in the language in the statute that, by the way, the legislature placed in the statute, and some governor signed it, would be binding. And so yeah, I think that to me it would be upon the signature of the petition, the governor's supposed to issue the executive order. I don't know how it wouldn't be effective. Of course, again, I have not seen the petition.
Sure.
So I don't know what are any limiting factors they may have placed in it.
But once they sign it, are you telling me that it's on?
Well, I don't know why it wouldn't. Look, I don't know why the petition would not in any way void out the governor's powers at that point. I mean, of course, some judges might read it to say, well, it really doesn't legally start until the governor issues the proclamation, which the language is mandatory on his part. It's not discretionary.
So he has to do it when he receives it. He has to do it.
Yes, he has to do it. He's got it would be a sad day, Moon. Of course, we've seen a lot of sad days here in Louisiana, unfortunately, for us to have to go force him to do so through the courts.
Jeff, I don't see how we don't have to force him through the courts, because I've been watching him for 5 years, and I'm telling you that's where he's going with this.
Well, maybe he would finally live up to his rhetoric in wanting to work with legislators and with Republicans. Like he always claims those in the House and the Senate don't want to work with him, but yet it's always, well, come see me all the way, and I'll give and agree with me 100% of the time, and we all agreeing, right? But he has the ability to. I mean, listen, he's a lawyer. Okay, this is not ambiguous language. It's very clear. It's very direct. He understands the difference between shall and may. I would hope so. He hadn't gotten that far in his legal career without understanding those two. And if he is a rule of law kind of governor, then he would issue a proclamation.
Now, Jeff,
and bend to the wishes of the legislature.
Let me ask you a question. So let's say they bring it to him at 2:00. Can the legislators go home and say, y'all want to have football, open it up? People don't want to wear masks, you don't have to wear a mask. Restaurants, you can be 100%. Can they go tell people and people start doing that?
Well, yeah. Here's the thing. Look, yes. If he issues the proclamation, look, you can argue it both ways, Moon. Certainly, if the petition gets out there and we see it and it's got 53 signatures and, the clerk timestamps it and certifies it, and people wanted to use that to go out there and open themselves up, it's certainly a defensible. It places them with a lot of ammunition if the governor tried, to continue to enforce an emergency that the legislature has voided, or one house of the legislature has voided, according to the statute. And so, yeah, and that's the whole problem here. This thing has gotten so far out of whack. Common sense has flew completely out the door. And the governor continuing to squeeze businesses and create some sort of, communist type regime where we turn neighbors against neighbors and we determine who's picking winners and losers. We literally have been living under a dictatorship for the last 6 months.
Yeah. It's been about almost 6 at least, almost 8. All right, Attorney General Jeff Landry. Jeff, I'll let you go, but we may holler back at you Monday. Let's see all this breaks for the weekend and may holler back at you.
All right, thank you, Moo.
All right, Jeff Landry, Attorney General. And
this is amazing.
But he just basically said if somebody wanted to open their restaurant bars, you can do it because once this thing comes down.
The statute.
Yeah, once this thing comes down today, y'all pay attention out there. You make it open everything wide open today. Wait till it comes down. God bless. See you on Monday.